So the other day, I was on one of the Facebook archery forums, and I saw somebody ask a question. What is the difference between a hinge release and a back tension? And it got me thinking that there's a lot of people who don't quite understand the difference between these things. Now, I'm not talking about a tension-activated release like the knock-on silverback, which is just, it releases at a certain pounds of pressure. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this kind of release, which many people will call a back tension release when that is not truly what it is. This is a hinge release. It doesn't work from you just pulling on it. You can pull till the cows come home all you want, and that doesn't make it fire. What does make this fire is a hinging motion. That's why it's called a hinge. That's why UltraViews, for example, is called the UltraView hinge, because that's exactly what it is. It works on rotation. So you'll see this release right now is obviously straight up and down, but as I rotate it, now I'm rotating it, that is what makes it fire, that rotation. Now, can you fire a hinge release using back tension? Sure. When you're back here, you can pull with your back, and that can induce some rotation. I mean, this is obviously very exaggerated, but you can see how this rotates in the process of pulling through, because now it's upright, whereas before it was forward. Like, that obviously rotates. But just pulling on it, if you're not rotating while you're pulling, if you're just pulling like this, it's not gonna go. And I've seen people struggle shaking because they're pulling, I mean, ludicrously pulling on this release. But because they're not rotating, the thing is just not going off, and they are fighting it. It's the rotation, people, that makes this thing go off. It is not how hard you pull on it. You don't have to pull on this thing at all to make it go off, as I just was showing. Rotating. That's what makes it go off, okay? Now, other people will ask, well, what about a thumb button like this? This is a Scott Ascent, this is a Scott Apex. The other one was a Scott Ascent, the hinge. This, can you set it off with back tension? Sure, you can set it off with back tension, pulling through your shot, and, well, probably hard to hear, but, you know, pull, and it will go off. Sure. That is just a method of setting off your release. It is not a style of release, okay? Back tension is a method. A button, a hinge, is a style of release, or a type of release, okay? So I personally do not use back tension to set off either my hinge or my button. With my button, I like to just gradually squeeze, and you'll hear it click. There it goes, because I'm gradually squeezing my thumb and my ring finger together. That is what can make it go off. It's just a gradual squeeze. I can feel it, and it works. Can you just pull, and because your thumb is on the button, it goes off? Sure. You can pull and it'll go off. But that's not, well, that is a way you can set it off, but remember, that is a type of execution style. That is not the type of release, okay? So to all the people, going back to the hinge, who think this is called a back tension release, that is what it used to be called in, you know, back in the day. I'll call it, you know, say back in the day, that's what people called it, although that is not realistically what it is. This same style of release has always been about rotation, not just straight pulling on it. Pulling is not going to get you anywhere. It's pulling and the rotation at the same time. If you're not rotating, it's not going to fire. You don't have to pull at all. If you just rotate, it'll still fire. Now, is that the best way to do it? I'm going to let you determine that yourself. But for me, to get this to go off, I do some rotation, but I also like to stretch my hand, because as I stretch my hand, you can probably see it better this way. Yeah, this way. As I stretch my hand, it's rotating. You see how it's that way now? It started here. Stretch that hand and it's going to rotate, and eventually fires, because I'm just stretching my hand. So yes, I'm pulling in the process, because in order to keep my anchor in the same spot, I have to, extend my arm back just a little bit, because my fingers are expanding. But that's realistically where, how we get there. So hopefully this video was helpful. If it was, feel free to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, put a comment below on what you think. If I'm a complete idiot, which I'm sure some of you think I am, because of course you can just pull through any release. But, whatever you think, I appreciate you sticking around, watching the video. Until next time, I'll catch you later.